Good morning, everybody. Welcome, guys, to the basically last unit of your 7th grade year. I mean, if we have some time left over, we might squeeze in a small unit on citizenship that we missed in first, second quarter because of a hurricane. But we've kind of reached the end, guys, and we're going to be talking about economics this week, next week, and a little bit of the following week. Hope you guys are doing really well. Without further ado, let's get going. Here comes the money, like as if like a helicopter was raining out dollar bills everywhere. That's what we're going to be talking about with economics, right? All about the money. Wait a minute, we need to pause right there. I have seemed to have made a glaring error in judgment, which is short for I think I have made a mistake. Does anybody, if we were in the room, I'd say in the room, but does anybody at the computer screen even know how to define the word economics? Like, this dog has no idea what it is doing. Like, what is even a economy? Or like the concept of economics and how a business works and functions? Or even what money truly is? Well, clearly we have a lot of ground to cover. So we should probably get a good working definition to start off. Economics refers to a branch of knowledge in your brain concerned with the production and consumption and transfer of wealth. But what does that mean, Mr. Shoens, to like a horse? Well, to a stallion, it would mean absolutely nothing. However, to you, it could be of greater significance. Statistics show that 57% of Americans will have or will dabble, meaning they'll try, in the idea of owning a business. Meaning if we were in the classroom, but now we're at the monitor screens, 57% of the people in 7th grade, if the statistics are correct, will do something in business one day. That's over half of you guys. So that's what this unit's going to kind of cover. We're going to cover a lot of different things, such as why we have economies and economics and the study of it, the 3 factors of production in case you want to make something to eventually make money, what consumption is, what economics does for governments, how does it make them stronger, and much, much more. What money is, how to make a business, how to budget. There's a ton of stuff we're going to be doing. So buckle up, guys. We got a lot of ground to cover. There are your first notes for economics, as well as what an entrepreneur is. Short summary, it's someone who starts a business. So why does economics exist? At the end of the day, everyone wants something. Those wants are divided into many different categories, such as basic needs, like food and water, entertainment, such as your iPhone or movies, desires, and a whole lot more. So, like, your basic needs would be stuff you need in order to live, such as food and water. None of you in this room, to my knowledge, are farmers, so you have to buy that from somewhere, hence the wants. So whether it be your new video game, like that sweet video game to the left, or maybe stuff like movies, such as like a Star Wars. People want to be entertained, hence economics. Desires, whether it be the newest pair of Jordans, or maybe it's the newest iPhone. You get the idea. We all want stuff. Now, why do wants matter? Because everything in economics, whether it be why money is worth certain things, why we start businesses, how businesses function, how countries prosper or suffer, it all goes down to something known as wants. Without it, there would be no clear direction or goal in producing goods, and economics would be absolutely pointless. If we don't know what the people ultimately want, then why would there even be a need, and why would you care about building businesses and stuff like that? If people don't want anything, you can't sell them anything. Now, I will give you guys a bit of a disclaimer. We are talking about a ton about money and stuff like that, and I know I'm going to be pushing like these ideas of wants and desires and stuff like that. But keep in mind, there's the stuff that is temporary, the stuff that the moth and vermin destroy, and there's the stuff that is eternal. Obviously, seek the things that are eternal first. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Keep that in mind even when we're talking about economics. Now, okay, so let's say that I want to be that someone who wants to figure out one of those wants. That person's known as an entrepreneur. It's someone who wants to start up a business to make a lot of money or to satisfy a want for people. That's the type of person that's going to come up with a new product or service and put it on the shelves or put it into action. But the question remains, how? How do you start like stuff like that? Well, here's your how to make a business 101. It starts with the factors of production. In order to make a business, you need to have an answer for the three factors of production. And those three basic factors are land, labor, and capital. Let's start with land. I mean labor. My bad. Doing this by memory. Labor is the time and energy it takes to produce something, like physical labor. Labor can be in the form of actually like building something, or it can be providing a service to someone. Like, for example, a chef at a restaurant produces something. They produce the food on the plate. However, the server is providing a service to you by bringing the plate to your table and refilling your drinks and stuff like that. Both are labor. It's just a little bit different forms of labor. Now, when it comes to your labor, guys, your labor is valuable to the entrepreneur. Maybe you're not in the 57% that wants to start a business, and that's a-okay. Entrepreneurs need people to be willing to work to carry out their vision. And that being said, that means your labor is valuable. And what does that mean in dollar figures? Well, in Florida, that means about $8.25 an hour for minimum wage. You might get more, but you won't get less because it's obviously minimum. There are your notes for the three factors of production, and the first of those three factors of production, labor. You need labor in order to start a business. Let's talk about land, the second factor of production. Now, this is the one that tends to be most confusing for seventh graders because when they think of land, they think of like the actual land that you put the building on and stuff like that. And I'm not saying you're wrong in that sense, that that is indeed land, but here we're talking about the natural resources you need in order to develop a good or product. That's one of the factors of production. Yes, you have labor. You have people either assembling the product you want to do, whether it be a chef at a restaurant or someone in a factory, but you ultimately need stuff in order for them to assemble things or to cook things in the case of the chef. So land is the natural resources you need in order to produce a product. It looks different depending on what type of business you're going to run. If you are a farmer, then the land obviously deals with your fruits and vegetables. If you are a computer engineer, then land as far as a factor of production is going to be the metals you need for like computer chips, microprocessors, RAM, all the different parts you need in order to build computers or cool devices of all that different stuff. So your land would not be fruits and vegetables. Your land factor of production would obviously be like metals, whether it be coltan, whether it be copper, whether it be gold, whatever you're making, obviously. Even McDonald's has to factor in when it comes to land, when it comes to production. Again, you have to have an answer for all three of these things in order for a business to have any chance of working. So obviously McDonald's has to factor in, if we were looking at the picture to the right, the land as far as like the little chickens to make the beautiful McNuggets, the potatoes to make the French fries, and the syrup and seltzer water and ice cubes and all that different stuff needed to make a Coca-Cola, and obviously whatever other magic McDonald's uses to make those things rather delicious. But you get the idea. The second factor of production is land. It's the natural resources that you need in order to make a business going, in order to make a good/product. There's your notes for our second factor of production, land. And the final factor of production in order to get your business off the ground running is capital. Now, capital is not a state in capital. Capital is anything in an economy that is used to produce the goods and service. It could be the tools, it could be the machine, it could be the building, the factory, whatever it may be. So in the case of like an automaker, the capital would be the factory, like the Volkswagen factory to the left, as well as the capital would be the tools needed to assemble that engine block and to move the parts throughout the factory and the hammers and screws and bolts and rivets and all that different stuff that you would need. In the case of like smaller businesses, not making like grand scheme things like cars, then your capital might be like in the case of McDonald's, the actual building for McDonald's where people sit down and eat those delicious McNuggets, as well as the fryers, the shelves and all the different stuff that you need in order to make the delicious food at McDonald's. It's usually by this point when we're in the classroom that a lot of people say, Mr. Shoens, why didn't you use Chick-fil-A and stuff like this? Uh, Truth be told, I just like seeing students freak out by McDonald's because they usually say, ew, so gross and stuff. True story. And other capital would be tools, whatever tools you need for your business. Hammers, screwdrivers, tape measures, all that different stuff. Now, here's how the factors of production add up. So we have land, labor, and capital. Those are your three factors of production in order to make a business. You start with the land. The land is all the resources needed to produce a good/service. Without the land, obviously, you can't really do anything. If you have a restaurant that doesn't have food, it's not going to go really well, even if you have a building, fryers, and people to make that food. Then you have the capital, which is your machines, your buildings, and all the stuff needed to produce a good. Obviously, I don't want on my plate a potato from McDonald's. I want that potato fried into a French fry, which I can enjoy with a little salt. And then you got the labor of either the person who brings you the food or the person who cooks you the food, all that different stuff. So you have the land. In the case of like a McDonald's, you have the place where it can grow stuff like potatoes, and you have the cows and stuff to make the delicious cheeseburgers. Again, if you feel that McDonald's is gross, feel free to email me about it at shoensk@marianwpp.org. You have the capital, which is not the actual French fries or burgers there, but the grill as well as the fryer, definitely. And then you have the labor, which is the person at the window who is giving you the food and taking your money, as well as the chef in the back who is cooking up that food, which I doubt a chef at McDonald's looks anything like that. Anywho, there are your final notes for today of land, labor, and capital. Tomorrow we'll talk about consumption and a few other things in economics. Make sure you do your worksheet on how to make a business 101, where you guys will ultimately be making a business idea and answering the questions of what the land, labor, and capital are. Anywho, take care, guys. Have fun. Adios.